Hey guys, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to do something different in comparison to what I usually do, right? So if you have forgotten to click that subscribe button yet, just smash it, right? So before we get into the video, there's something I want to tell you. So there's a Tedx speaker called David JP Phillips, and what he does is that he reacts to famous people's videos. So for example, if Steve Jobs does a video on how to become rich, what this guy does is that he takes that video and he reacts to it, as in he breaks down that video and he tells how much has the person developed, the other person, like the famous person doing it, how have he developed and what is he strong in and what should you learn from his video, right? He gives you a much more insight. So guys, when I'm just looking at this, I felt like I should do a reaction video to him, right? So this is gonna be fun, and what the video I chose is a TEDx video he did, which had more than 2.4 million views, right? So let's get into the video.
In 2009, a man, a journalist, by the name Rob Walker wanted to find out is...
Okay guys, I know I'm too early to stop, but I just couldn't. This guy is crazy, right? Even I have seen a lot of public speakers, but he has so much of self-confidence. He just walks in and he grabs in everyone's attention, right? Just see, he walks in and he's like, in 2009, right? He comes in, makes it a scenario. Like, without just saying, you know, in 2009, there was a man who was a journalist. Other than that, he's like, in 2009, a man, a journalist, right? He creates a scenario there, right? It's like, it's 3 complete scenarios, right? This guy actually knows what to do. I'm sorry for just stopping it too early. If I'm going to talk about this beginning, I could just keep talking, right? So let's get into the video.
In order to do this, he went on his computer and he bought 200 objects from eBay. And the average price of the objects were about $1. He then called 200 authors and he asked them, hey, would you like to be part of the significant object study? Which means that I would like you to write a story to one of the objects.
So as a continuation of that, he says that the particular journalist he was talking about bought 200 objects online, and one object costed $1 each. So it was all $200. So he's trying to say that this particular journalist, what he did was that he called 200 storytellers and asked each of those storytellers to tell a story for each of the object he bought. But what I'm trying to grab your attention in this is that the way he's telling how he communicated, how the journalist communicated to the storytellers. It's a really attention-seeking way, right? He's saying it perfectly. He's like telling the story coolly. He's just coolly saying the story in a cool posture. And suddenly he's like, hey, do you want to come and tell a story with me, right? He makes you imagine. He makes you imagine the situation. He grabs the attention of the audience and he makes them sit on his seat. Right? That's an amazing talent, and that's a talent a public speaker should have, right? So if you are a public speaker, you got to go and check his videos out. He's just crazily talented.
200 authors said yes. So there he had 200 objects, he had 200 stories, and I assume that it was with nail-biting anticipation that he went on eBay again. With all the 200 objects. Would there be a difference? Would there be a change? Do you think there was a change? One of the objects was this beautiful horse's head. There we go. The beautiful horse's.
Just look at that part. He is asking a question from the audience. So he's engaging them. He's like, would there be a change? Do you think there is a change? So then we can see, like in this video, we can see audience are actually replying, right? So his technique is working. Man, your technique is working, and that is how you should do. If you're a public speaker, you got to get your audience engaged with you, right? And this is something crazy. He's so good at it, right? this is a perfect way how you engage your audience. You got to ask questions from them, get their perspective, right? They should be able to imagine a scenario and come up with an answer, right? So when you give the answer, they would match their answer with your answer.
Head. Now this beautiful horse's head was bought for 99 cents and was sold when a story was added for $62.95. That is a slight increase of 6,395%. So was this a one-off situation? Not really.
He's not trying to make the joke obvious, right? He's saying the joke in a professional way. So if you're catering to a professional audience, you got to say jokes like this, right? This guy is really good at cracking jokes, like you can see it, right? But it's just that he says it's silent. He's like, it's just a slight increase of this amount, right? But it's actually not a slight increase, right? That's a huge increase. So that's something you got to learn.
Really, because he bought the 200 objects for a total of $129, selling them for $8,000. Now that's insane. But you know what's even more intellectually challenging to understand is how can you and I go to the movies and pay good money to watch movies like James Bond, who are absolutely unrealistic. And we sit there, we enjoy the movie, and some of us, we really enjoy the movie. And we leave the theater going like, God, what a man! I would.
Okay, so just look at that part, right? So he says that some of us enjoy the movie, and some of us really enjoy the movie. So he illustrates that thing twice. He reminds it twice into your mind, so it stays in your mind, right? So that is a great technique. If you're a public speaker, you got to use that. You got to learn from this guy, because that's like 100% accurate technique, where you say the same thing twice to grab that person's attention and give them attention to detail, right? So this guy is really good at what he's doing. And also the last part, the way he says it, he's like, yeah, you feel like that. Right? So he's making you feel alive. So he's just doing some actions and he's just pushing out. Like, just imagine if I'm like, hey guys, or I'm like, hey guys, right? You get that vibe, right? You get that feeling. So he does it. So that's just great, right? So let's get into the video.
I would like to be more like him. I'd like to walk like him. I'd like to talk like him. I like Bond. Wonder how I could be more like Bond. And then this weird revelation hits you, like from nowhere, and you come up with a brilliant idea to walk to a watchmaker shop. And wow, it just happens to be an Omega watch in that shop that resembles the one that Bond was wearing in the movie. And you pay $10,000 to put that watch on your wrist, and you leave that store feeling more like Bond. How is that possible?
So guys, I decided to stop this video right there and do an episode 2, right? So if you like this video, mention it on the comments, and you can suggest anyone you want me to react to, right? I would do it for you. Trust me, I would do it. Keep my word, right? And also, before you go, there's a life learning I want to tell you in this. So this is what I named this channel, called Shiraz's Perspective. Right? So I'll tell you what my perspective on this particular story is, right? So what this guy is trying to say out of this is that any object in life, even your own life, you're born with nothing, right? You're born as a kid and you have no value. If you want to be a person of value, not only in the commercial market, but as a human being as well, through life, you gain experiences and you gain education and you go through exposures and all kind of scenarios, risky scenarios and all of those, and you learn stuff. So what you learn adds value to your life, right? So you become a complete man or a woman, right? So what he's trying to say is that even companies like the James Bond scenario is where if James Bond wears a watch with like a value of $10 could be sold at a price of $10,000. People would buy it just to have that feeling, that inner feeling as James Bond, right? So y'all are brain tricked. Even I am, even you are, right? So that's human nature. Our brains, our minds are tricked by major companies. So in this story, this guy buys small objects for just cheap prices and he sells it for like really high prices by adding a story to that, right? By just adding a story, by adding value. Like that, if you want to add value to your life, you got to do what you love, right? I would never recommend you guys to do what you don't love. Do what you love, and in whatever you are doing, study, right? Study it, go through risks, take risks, go through risks, and feel alive, right? And that's what would give value to you, right? Later in life, you'll be a person of value. People will remember your name, right? So I hope I added some value to you, and thank you so much for your time, right? I'll meet you at episode 2. And again, if you have forgotten to click that subscribe button, just go ahead and punch it on, right? Stay safe and have a nice day.